and welcome to the next edition of Tarot Talks. Today, I have a good friend of mine, Anna, with us to talk about her journey of figuring out what it is she wants to do, what the future looks like, and giving you a bit of an inside look into that journey. A lot of times we get to see, somebody talk about reflecting on that journey, but we don't always get to see it while it's happening and in the process. So I'm excited to see where this goes. And so Anna, please introduce yourself. Let us know what you're working on.
Thank you so much for having me. First of all, my name is Anna Hoy, and I am a multi-passionate entrepreneur. So I had a travel business for almost 3 years. I just let it go recently. I'm working a part-time job, and I turned my travel business into a travel community. I'm also a wife. I'm a mom of 4 sons. And so there's a lot going on. As we were talking in the show prep, I let you know that I'm a Gemini, and I don't know if anybody watching believes in astrology, but I'm the true Gemini, which is that I can't make up my mind sometimes. I have too many thoughts and ideas. So I'm hoping today get some clarity and some direction, like, am I on the right track? Is there something I should look at that I'm not looking at? So I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you guys, everyone, for joining us today.
Yes, I am so excited for this. And the funny thing is, the very first card that came out is the Fool card. So this is all about starting that new adventure and not knowing what's ahead. So I think a great way to kind of start this, and I'll kind of show you the second card that came out, but this is the Mother of Swords in the reverse. So in this particular deck, the Mother is like the queen in your traditional deck. So okay. I'm actually wanting to talk a little bit about that backstory that led you to kind of building this travel business. And, you had some great visions for it. And then the pandemic happened. And so I would love to hear a little bit about that journey of having to, sit down and really make that decision that you were going to make a transition without knowing what the future had in store for you.
Yeah, it was a little scary, but I had some growing pains. But when I started my business, I was working for a job, and I realized that they didn't value and appreciate me, and there wasn't any opportunity there. And I thought, what am I doing here? I'm not living my dream. And I always loved travel and loved helping others. And I'm very independent and, a hard worker. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do travel, something that I love. So I jumped in with 2 feet. I was very excited to start my business. And shortly thereafter, the pandemic hit. So I didn't, tuck and run. I dug in, and I learned everything I could learn about travel, about the travel industry, about destinations, about suppliers. I learned about Instagram and, Instagram Reels and YouTube and everything you could think of. I definitely learned a lot the past 2.5 years, 3 years. But then I finally just came to the decision that travel wasn't coming back as quickly enough for me, and I really needed the income. So I really started realizing I wasn't loving what I was doing. And I thought, wow, in my head, I thought this was going to be so much more fun and enjoyable and fulfilling than it was. And I think if the pandemic didn't hit, it possibly could have went that direction, but it didn't. And my hopes and dreams were in this, business, and I just, having anxiety. And I realized one day when I was banging my desk, literally, that, wow, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
I'm to the point of being depressed. The bills are piling up. What am I doing? I'm trying to, put this round hole in the square peg. It's not working. And why am I banging my head? It's time to make a decision to do something else. So I really prayed about it. And the message I got was, it's okay to let it go. And it doesn't mean you're a failure because something didn't work. You tried it. It was something that you really wanted to do and you were passionate about, and you went for it. So on the one, and I learned a lot. But I had morning, sadness, and I was upset and mourning a little bit afterwards. And then I just decided that, okay, it's sort of like a divorce, or a breakup. You go, oh, that hurts, but then you move on and you try different things and you go about living your day, and then you get through it. So I'm kind of through the other side now. And then I was like, well, what am I going to do with this travel business I'm really passionate about? I didn't want to let it go completely. So I just turned my Girlfriend's Guide to Traveling Instagram and Facebook into a community. And it's basically a community for women who love to travel, so that they can, it's just not me sharing tips and tricks and resources, which of course I do, but it's for the members to share their experiences, ask questions. You know, like the other day, somebody was like, I'm going to London. What kind of transportation do I need when I get there? Somebody else was like, I'm going to go to this place. Anybody know any Airbnbs, or what are my must-dos when I go to such and such destination? So they get to ask questions. And when they come back, they share pictures. Like, my friend just got back from an Alaska cruise. She shared some pictures of Glacier Bay that were gorgeous. And it's that kind of thing. I want people to interact and share and collaborate. But of course, I want to provide value and resources to anybody that wants to travel. And then I'm still connected in the travel community. So if someone is in need of a travel agent, I have a really good, base of experienced travel agents to refer them to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my full-time job, or actually, I call it a full-time job. It's 6 hours a day, which gives me time to work on other things, which I love.
Right.
So I still get to work from home, and I'm working for a company that does commercial carpet, flooring, and upholstery care. So we go into the commercial buildings and we do the deep cleaning, and we problem solve. So that's kind of fun too. And I'm getting used to it. It's month 2.
Yeah. And I feel like this sort of goes into these next cards. So if you're familiar with traditional tarot, this is the 7 of Wands. So it looks a little bit different. Traditionally, you see someone who looks like he's kind of like putting stakes into the ground, and it's like doing this repetitive motion, but it has this energy of like, what am I doing this for? What am I working towards? But in this particular one, I really kind of see it as like you're creating that initial spark that is going to be able to set itself off into something bigger. I feel like this is something like you are creating your own light amidst all the darkness. And I also got this Son of Wands, which is the equivalent of the Knight of Wands in the reverse. And so it's funny that you were talking about being a Gemini, because I actually see a balancing energy here as far as getting that spark started, but not going too fast where you're not really thinking about what you're doing. So how do you kind of find that balance between doing what you love and getting things started, but not getting ahead of yourself or not being too quick and impulsive in order to kind of keep yourself grounded?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's one of the things is I've reached out to a marketing person to kind of help me brainstorm all my ideas, and then take what the best ideas are and really put an action plan together behind that. And it's just funny that once I start, my brain just goes, oh, and you could do this, and you could do this, and you could do this, like you said about slowing down. So that is an area that I'm working on is, I think I told you earlier, I was even thinking like, I should start real estate too. And then I really just thought about it just the last 24 hours. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're not going to do your travel community, your new job, and do real estate right now. You're going to slow your roll.
Right.
And focus on what's in front of you. And if eventually I'm led that way, then that's what I'll go towards. But yeah, that's
so it's kind of
in a nutshell. Slow
like that
down.
self-reflection and kind of needing to just like say, hold on, let's rethink this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's, again, I always say it's funny because the perfect cards always come out. But with this 4 of Swords in the reverse, this is traditionally, it's like a card of needing rest, but you're not really giving yourself that space to rest and recuperate. And with this High Priestess coming in the reverse as well, I'm kind of getting this like, potentially this could have been more so in the past. You can tell me if this is also relevant to you now when you're reflecting. But when you don't allow yourself enough space to just rest and relax, you're also kind of cutting off your intuitive, your gut instincts. You're not really allowing yourself to receive the messages or the guidance from within you because you're so busy doing and you're so busy thinking and trying to just keep things going. So again, I don't know if this is more so in your past, but also now. But then with this death card in the reverse, this all of these three coming out in the reverse makes me feel a little bit like sometimes you could be kind of blocking new beginnings from happening because of that lack of rest.
Yeah, that I couldn't agree with you more. It's like, I know you know me, but you didn't know all those things about me,
Right.
right? And I think that starts from my childhood. So I had a really demanding father, and so part of my survival mode is accomplishing things and doing things. And so I'm just a workhorse, just go, 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 go. And what happens with that though is when things aren't going in the momentum or the way that I want them to go, I start feeling like you're not enough, you're a failure, you're not enough, you're a failure, knocks me down, knocks me down, knocks me down.
Yeah.
And then, I'll go like, boo hoo hoo, that's hard. And then I go, okay, what am I gonna do about it? And then my brain is a really quick brain, and it goes, you're gonna do blah, 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 blah. And like I said earlier, then I try 10 things at once to try to see what's gonna work. And what I've learned though, in the pandemic and with this struggle in my business is to slow down. And now, my slow is probably still fast for some people because I'm very fast. But for me, I have slowed down. I've learned to slow down. I've learned to, if I have this book right here, and I write 100 million thoughts in there, and I just write them all down to get them out of my head. But then I leave them and come back later and I look at them and I say, okay, what am I going to do with this? And then I strategize. And now instead of just going for it, I'm checking in with myself. I'm checking in with the person that's helping with my marketing. Does this make sense? Are we in the right direction? Before I just jump. And in the past, it was just like, this is a great idea. Go, jump. Right. And in fact, in my past career in work, if they needed somebody to make a really quick decision, they would come to me. They'd be like, nobody can make the decision. Go to Anna. And they would come to me and they're like, what should we do? And I would go, give me the facts, ask questions. And I go, okay, this is what we do. Because I have this gift, which is I could see the whole. And, but not necessarily in my own life.
Right.
Like if you told me what was going, you were struggling with something, I could listen to you and I could see what you need to do. And I could do that with the companies. And but the problem was I couldn't look at myself or my business. Right. So when COVID happened, I had to learn to self-reflect. I had to learn to slow down. I had to learn to get my thoughts out on paper or whatever I need to do, talk them out, whatever I need to do, but don't take action.
Yeah.
Just like get it out and then just wait, breathe, and then come back to it with clear eyes and then make a decision that way. So I would say that in the past 3 years, the pandemic has definitely taught me to slow down, and rest more, because I do have a tendency to not rest as much as I should.
Yeah, and with these cards, they definitely show me that, especially you can kind of see there's like, it almost looks like a sun or just like a beam of light in the middle of the lamb's head. Yes. These feel very intuitive to me. And so if you don't already know it, I feel like you're a very naturally intuitive person. It's just that it often gets blocked or cut off because you're not allowing yourself the space to allow it to come through. You're blocking it with all of the words and the thoughts and the doing and the actions. And so, yeah, this tells me you're naturally intuitive. At least.
So what should I do to make sure that I'm relaxing and resting and giving myself space? Because I am intuitive, and I've always been intuitive. In fact, sometimes I've even been told I'm psychic because I get messages and impressions for people, but I think it's just intuition and something comes to me. And if I get a message, I just give it to somebody, but I can't like hold your palm and do a reading. It's just, if
Right.
something is meant for me to tell you, it comes to me and I just know to tell it to you.
Right.
So, and the same thing as I mentioned in the job, I can do it for other people, but I
Right.
really struggle to do it with myself.
Right. I feel like part of that is also kind of reflecting back on in those moments where you get those intuitive hits. Maybe there are some patterns in what you were doing or how you were feeling, or perhaps maybe those were moments where you were resting and relaxing or not really filled with thoughts. And that's when they came.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I was driving in
Yeah,
a car one time and I wasn't thinking about anything. And
right.
then the thought just came in my head. Or a couple of
Right.
times I was in church and I was just walking and I looked at somebody and boom, I got this message to give them.
Yes.
And I
Well,
was like,
there.
oh, I think I need to tell them this.
Yeah. And so I feel like that is that feels like a big message, right? Because that's how you start getting those intuitive hits, as you might call them. And so when you also put the intention on getting them for yourself as well, when you start prioritizing that rest, you're going to leave so much more space for it to come through and eventually start building them for yourself as well.
Ooh, that sounds like really good
Yeah,
advice.
yeah. And of course, the funny thing is, this is where my intuition kicks in as well. I already asked the question of how for you. And so I've had these cards sitting here just waiting to show you. First, we got the Four of Cups, which traditionally it's a person sitting by a tree and they have a cup being offered to them with like a floating hand, but they're so focused on the three cups in front of them. The Three of Cups often reminds me of like collaboration and celebrating with other people. So, like external people, environments. And so I see it as, just as your story says, you often focus on the fulfillment and the celebration of others and with others. But what you are missing is that emotional cup that is reserved for you.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I also received this Hierophant in the reverse. And this is traditionally a card about tradition. So it could be tradition in the upright versus more non traditional in the reverse. So, in some ways, I feel like this is kind of asking for you to be non traditional in your approach to, let's say, how you receive the emotional fulfillment. So what kind of just came through to me is I feel that part of it has to do with feeling deserving of the emotional fulfillment. So it's not necessarily that you're just blinded to it or that things are being offered to you and you're not accepting them. I feel like underlying with there being a lack of the deserving of it, it's not even going to be able to come to you at all, right? So I feel like the work there is going to be with working on the deserving of the emotional fulfillment, knowing that you can be happy, that you deserve what you also give to others. And so that's where you're finding balance in proper giving and receiving. So you have to be open to receive in order to have the receiving, right?
Ooh,
So
that's
yeah.
gonna bring tears to my eyes because that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start crying. I feel that way. Yeah, my whole
Yeah.
life. I
Yeah.
feel like I don't deserve it
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. What I feel like I want to do is use let me get another deck really quick. And if you want
Okay,
to take a sip of water or anything, feel free.
that's a
Um,
childhood wound. It's a
yeah.
from the you're not enough. You're not worthy. You're not good enough. And so
Yeah.
what happened with this business failing is those feelings came up. See, you're not good enough. You failed, and then logically, my brain goes, okay, you did a lot of great things and you learned a lot and you did accomplish some things, but the deep down inside child, I'll say, the child Anna comes out and goes, see, you didn't do it. You weren't successful.
Yeah.
And the fact that you deserve it, that one is that's one I miss because I get that you're not enough and you can't do it. Those ones come up. But that one, I think that one was hiding underneath them, which is
Yeah.
you don't deserve it. And I think that's a big one that I need to overcome and realize that I do deserve it. Everybody deserves it.
Right.
Everybody
Yeah.
deserves to be happy. We're all equal. Everybody deserves to have their wishes and dreams and hopes come to fruition. We're all capable. It doesn't matter if somebody's smarter than you, younger than you, more creative than you, more
Right.
educated than you. We all deserve it.
Right.
And the little voice that's been coming in my head lately is I turned 55 last month.
Mhm.
You're getting old, and it feels like time's running out. And that's what keeps coming in my head, is you don't have enough time. And that causes me to have fear. And I have
Right.
to just go like, this is where you are right now, and you do have time.
Mhm. Right.
I have to like
Right.
constantly self-talk and get myself out of that negative self-talk, which is a bad habit that I developed. Is that
Right.
negative self-talk. And I am
Mhm.
aware of it. So now when I hear it, I go like, stop it.
Yeah, that's literally the first thing though. It like because you're aware of it, now you have the ability to work through it, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a topic that has been just naturally coming up a lot recently, is this societal habit, really, it's society of comparing. And I always see it
Yeah.
as, if you're traveling, I'll use travel because that's one of your things. If you're traveling to, let's say, Europe, and I'm traveling to Alaska, we have two different maps. We have maybe very different points on those maps where we're going to stop along the way, different destinations. There's no way to compare those two maps because we're going to two different places. So,
And we have two different backgrounds, and we have two different,
exactly.
sets of goals and
Yes.
beliefs and all of that, right?
Yes. So what sense do we have in comparing who gets there first? We're not going to the same place and we're not starting at the same place. How
Yeah,
are we to
absolutely.
compare, how much money we're spending or saving in those locations? They're so different, right? And so we're in this culture of comparing, but we're comparing two different maps, two different
Yeah. That's a very
journeys,
good
really.
point. That's very
Yeah.
well said and so true. If anybody's watching and you feel similar to me, just know that you can't compare, because
Yeah.
everybody is at a different point in their life. And some people are where I'm at 25, and some people are where
Mm-hmm.
I'm at 65, and
Mm-hmm.
anywhere in between. So yeah, there's no comparing. Like,
Yeah.
comparing is a
Yeah.
really bad idea. You never
Right.
can compare.
Really.
Yeah.
And I haven't done this yet in all of the talks, but I wanted to pull a special card from you from one of my favorite decks. It's called Keepers of the Light by Kyle Gray, and this is an oracle card. And
Oh, beautiful.
this was the very first deck that I felt a strong connection to when I was starting to do my readings. And what I love is that you got the Holy Amethyst, which is the card on the box. So she has a purple heart in the center, and this is all about divine alchemy. And it says to move beyond current challenges, focus on what you desire. And I want to read you the message.
Okay.
This is a message for you, as well as it's probably for others who are watching, that this is going to be significant in its own way. So I'm going to read you the backstory as well as the extended message.
Thank you.
So the Holy Amethyst is the twin flame of Archangel Zadkiel, the angel who helps us transmute negative experiences into love and learning. He is the keeper of the violet flame, which helps us release anything that is no longer serving us. Holy Amethyst also enables us to look over past fears and challenges and draw wisdom and learning from them. Unlike Zadkiel, for many years she was not mentioned in spiritual texts, and I believe this was because her miraculous support wasn't needed on earth as it is now. To connect deeply with her light, hold her namesake crystal. And so here is the message. That was the backstory. You are ready to move beyond energies or situations that are no longer helpful to you and make space in your life for something more purposeful. You may feel a real need for clearing out, not just mentally or emotionally, but physically too. There is a sense that you are moving beyond challenges and forging golden opportunities from stagnant or unhappy experiences. It's important to recognize that you are like a magician at this time, with the ability to use your thoughts, will, and actions to bring about life fulfilling and dream enhancing opportunities. It's important to focus on what you desire and not what you fear, because what you give your energy to will literally begin to flourish. Call on Holy Amethyst to help you focus on golden opportunities.
That's
That
amazing because that's exactly what we were talking about this whole time.
yes, so this message was
It couldn't
definitely
be
for
any more
you.
perfect.
Absolutely. And I will even take a picture of that for you. I'll take a picture of this card and I'll send it to you, and I'll send you the message inside too. So whenever you're needing some extra inspiration or support, you can read it.
Amazing. And you mentioned about physical too. I'm actually working on myself. I'm
Yeah.
physically too. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I just started monitoring what I'm eating. I just started doing this food log. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna food log. I'm gonna start, I have a lower back problem. And
Mhm.
I think mentally I stopped myself from exercising. I was just like, nope, you're gonna get out and you're gonna do a little walking. And that's gonna give me space and rest too, right? Because I'm getting out in the
Yes.
sunshine. I'm, moving my body. All those things create endorphins that, feed your soul and everything.
Yes.
So I think I'm on the right track.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
that's
That
what tells me is I'm on the right track.
yeah, and this is kind of what I feel like you're at right now. You've started that flame, you've gotten it going, and now the golden opportunities are really just allowing that spark to just, you know.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's
Yes.
amazing. So I do
Yes.
have I have some ideas and about the Girlfriend's Guide to Traveling Community. And the
Yes.
full-time I'll call it the full-time job is paying my bills right now while I'm working
Yes.
on the other one. But I am
Mhm.
slowing down. I am taking my time. I am figuring out, what do I really want to do with this community? What is my heart telling me to do? I'm actually doing research. What do people really want from this
Right.
community, so that
Right.
I can put the right, you know, information out there.
Yes.
And then a big idea came the other day, and it's like so big, I don't know if I want to do it. But now this is
Yeah.
telling me, well, yeah, you should. I should work toward it. And I'll tell you
Absolutely.
offline what the idea is.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's a
Yes.
big one. And I was just like, so there, that little voice was like, that
Right.
came in, which was the "you don't deserve it," which was hiding
Mhm.
behind the "you're not enough and you can't do it." And so
Mhm.
I'm about to get rid of all of them now.
Yes,
They're about to
yay.
go bye-bye and
Yes,
not
and
come
I
back anymore. And watch out,
and
Anahoy's gonna take off.
yeah. I can't wait to see it.
And I'm glad you're gonna be on
Yes,
the journey with me, right?
absolutely.
We'll stay
Yes.
together.
I feel like that was a perfect ending. Is there anything else you would like to share with anyone, whether it be words of wisdom, final thoughts, or how to connect with you?
Sure. I would just say thank you so much for this. Like, I was just open, and I feel like
Yes.
if you come to do something like this, have a tarot card or have an astrology or whatever the case may be, or a spiritual reading, you just need to come open.
Yes.
And I think the universe or God or whatever you believe in has messages for you. And as long as you open yourself up to them, you're able to receive them. And I think that it was just so interesting how everything we talked about just came to fruition at the end with that card.
Right.
So I just want to say thank you so much for
Of
that. And I know you're going
course.
to put my information in the chat. If anybody wants to join my community, feel free to come on in, and we'd love to have you be a part of the Girlfriend's Guide to Travel. But Samantha,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. It's always a pleasure speaking
Yes.
to you. I'm excited about you and your journey and where life has taken you as well. And
Yes.
I'm always here to support you as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I mean, this was an amazing talk, and I'm glad you got so much out of it as well. So I
I
would love to
did, and
have
I
you
knew I
back.
was going to. That'd be fun to do, like a year later, 6 months later, like what
Yeah.
happened?
Yes. Where are they
And
now?
as the viewer, it's good for us too. It's kind of fun to watch, somebody that
Right.
you talk to 6 months later, a year later to see,
Yes.
well, what happened?
Yes. I
Because
love that.
yeah, it's, 'cause you
Co-creating
don't
at its
see that
finest.
on a lot of, shows. You just don't know what happened.
Yeah. Well,
I
thank
love
you,
that. Thank you
Anna,
so
and we'll
much.
talk again soon.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.